Let's close out today's session by talking about firewalls. So a firewall is a system that provides network security by filtering incoming and outgoing network traffic based on a set of user-defined rules. In general, the purpose of a firewall is to reduce or eliminate the occurrence of unwanted network communications while allowing all legitimate communications to flow freely. In most server infrastructures, firewalls provide an essential layer of security that, combined with other measures, prevents attackers from accessing your server in malicious ways. So guys, we spoke earlier about IP tables, so here we kind of talked about it a little bit more. IP tables is a standard firewall included in most Linux distributions by default. So a modern variant of this is actually called NF tables, and this is going to actually start to replace IP tables. So it's actually a front end to the kernel level network or net filter hook that can manipulate the Linux network stack. So it works by matching each packet that crosses the networking interface against a set of rules to decide what to do. So basically, guys, we have these packets coming in, and based off the rules we set up on the IP tables, it tells us whether if that packet from that IP address can come through the firewall or not, okay? So this is a really effective way to filter things from coming through your system. That way, we're not letting anything malicious through, okay? The firewall is controlled by a firewall daemon, and firewalld is a firewall management tool for Linux operating systems, okay? It provides firewall features by acting as a front end for the IP table packets filtering system provided by the Linux kernel. The name firewalld adheres to the Unix convention of naming system daemons by appending the letter D. Firewalld provides a dynamically managed firewall with support for network firewall zones to define the trust level of network connections or interfaces. So it has support for IPv4 as well as IPv6 firewall settings, and for Ethernet bridges, and has a separation of runtime and permanent configuration options. It also supports an interface for service or applications to add firewall rules directly. The firewall daemon, on the other hand, manages the firewall dynamically and applies changes without restarting the whole firewall. Therefore, there is no need to reload all firewall kernel modules, but using a firewall daemon requires that all firewall modifications are done with the daemon to make sure that the state in the daemon and the firewall and kernel are in sync. The firewall daemon cannot parse firewall rules added by IP tables and EB table command line tools, okay? So guys, basically all this is saying is that you have to use firewall daemon in conjunction with other firewall rules, and you have to sync it up, okay? So a lot of times when you make these changes to firewalld, you're going to have to restart that service or reload it so it actually sees those changes you made, okay, in order to actually keep them synced up together. So let's summarize. We went over security overview, maintaining system security, server access, physical security, network security, security tools, probing with Nmap, intrusion detection and prevention, PAM security modules, scanning the system, maintaining file integrity, using firewalls, and introduction to firewalld. Next session, we're going to go over configuring Samba for Linux to Linux Unix file sharing, configure Samba for Linux to Windows file sharing, use the SMB client utility to transfer files, which is the Samba client, and then mount and connect Samba shares to Linux and Windows clients. If you're still struggling or need extra help, guys, be sure to follow these links for private tutoring sessions for system administrators. There are weekly and monthly plans available, as well as Linux and Bash scripting sessions. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I am looking forward to seeing you in our next session. See you then.